Today, Nvidia has to change this. Gamers just dealt a huge blow to Nvidia, and AMD wants to end GPUs for good. Welcome everyone to Gamer Melt. Okay, it's news time, and first up for today, this is the last straw. Nvidia's got to do something about their GPU connector, period. I'm sick of hearing about, oh, it wasn't inserted all the way, or it's an older PSU, even though it supports the right amount of power. Whatever, because we now have a new case where a user who actually used MSI's cable that has yellow connectors specifically to show you that it's inserted all the way. This GPU by Zotac actually has an LED that lights up green when the connector's in all the way, and it's one reason why I like it. The user also used an ATX 3.1 compliant PSU at 1300 watts, so all the right stuff. And yet, they still had it burn. This story originally comes from a user on the Quasar Zone forum, where you can see that it was using an RTX 5090 Supram by MSI. But that GPU to me is completely irrelevant. We've seen this through multiple third-party vendors. At this point, I definitely argue that this is an Nvidia issue. Either way, as you can see right here, the connector is clearly charred, it's been blackened, clearly it's been damaged. Then on the GPU itself, where it was inserted, you can kind of see that some of these pins are black as well. Now, luckily, the GPU is actually still working. You can see it says that it appears the GPU is still functioning, though it is unclear whether it's fully damaged or if only the power cable needs replacement. Now, he is apparently going to be issuing an RMA with the GPU, but obviously if it were me, I would never want to use that GPU again. I mean, this really is worrying. Is there a chance that it could actually catch fire? I don't know. I don't think we've seen any reports of that, but it's definitely something to be concerned about. And ultimately, especially given the fact that they've already replaced this connector, it is now the 12V 2x6 connector, which pulls the sense pins back. So supposedly, if it's not all the way connected, it shouldn't get power. But clearly something is still going on. I really think Nvidia needs to address this. Ultimately, I think they need to completely redesign the power connector altogether. Originally, Nvidia actually tried to claim that this wouldn't happen with the RTX 50 series, yet it seems like almost every day a new GPU gets damaged. And next up for today, it looks like gamers are showing Nvidia what happens when you release poor products. Let's just say it's not good for them. But before I get too deep into it, can we all agree that AI is getting a little scary? Especially with the robots coming out of Boston Dynamics, Terminators are looking a whole lot more plausible, not to mention the potential takeover of jobs. Luckily, I've got a secret weapon with today's sponsor. Brilliant, the online learning platform that helps me fully understand the latest in computer science, like their new course called How AI Works, which takes you from an intro to large language models all the way to building your own. It's a great way to understand all about AI and to ensure you can keep up with the emerging technology. And the best part is that Brilliant is actually fun to use because they teach you with these engaging puzzles that help you learn by doing. No more falling asleep during class or memorizing a bunch of junk. But don't take my word for it, because you can try it out yourself with their free trial when you visit brilliant.org/gamermelt. Plus, when you sign up with brilliant.org/gamermelt, you'll get 20% off their annual premium, so there's no reason not to check it out. Once again, that's brilliant.org/gamermelt. Now, back to the story. We all know that Nvidia's RTX 50 series hasn't been well received, to say the least. And in response, it looks like customers in Germany are having none of these absurd prices. As you can see right down here, it says, Nvidia's RTX 50 series product stack has seen a decline in demand in the German market. According to ComputerBase, most RTX 5080, 5070 Ti, and 5070 AIB partner models are selling for at or below their respective MSRPs. Now, I will say that it's not actually most, but they are actually available. There are multiple GPUs that are available at or below MSRP. Well, specifically the 5080, 5070 Ti, and 5070, you can see they state the only exception is the 5090, which is still in high demand, plus the RTX 5060 Ti. Either way, as you can see right down here, we have a chart from Computer Base, and I'll kind of quickly go over this. So we have week 13 versus week 17, and we have average price and best price. But when we look at average price, you will notice that while yes, the price has gone down from week 13 to week 17, it is still quite a bit above MSRP. But the best price, now the 5090, it does show, the best price, it is actually matching MSRP, but as they state on the Computer Base article, basically this is just Founders Edition and it was only available for a very short time. Moving over to the 5080 though, we're looking at $1,119, which does match MSRP. Then the 5070 Ti, we're looking at $799, which is quite a bit below MSRP. And then finally, the regular 5070 at $589, once again below MSRP. Then when we look at the article itself, you can see that they actually list some of these, and I just kind of quickly clicked on a couple, and you can see these are still in stock. This 5070, which is currently on sale for 593 euros, which, yes, is above that absolute lowest price, but still below MSRP. Then we have the 5070 Ti, which is 837 euros. And once again, it is above the lowest 799 euros, but below week 13 and still quite a bit below MSRP. And what's really wild about this one is the fact that you can see right here it says, this doesn't happen every day. Nvidia has sent out a press release highlighting current offers for various RTX 5000 series GPUs with prices at or below the official entry-level MSRP. Basically, this was sent out by Nvidia. So this is Nvidia saying, you guys really need to check this out. This is like an advertisement. And given the fact that we're talking lower than MSRP, that tells me that gamers are refusing to buy for even at MSRP. Simply put, I've said it multiple times. We have the power. Supply and demand is the name of the game, and if there isn't enough demand, prices go down. And lastly for today, it looks like AMD's Ryzen 9000G desktop APUs are on the way, and AMD is going all out against the discrete GPU market. As you can see right down here, AMD's Gorgon Point is also coming to the AM5 socket. As the successor to the Ryzen 8000G series currently based on Zen 4 architecture, this update would bring Zen 5 cores and RDNA 3.5 graphics. Now, if Gorgon Point sounds familiar, that's because I actually covered it not too long ago, but it was specifically the FP8 infrastructure, which is basically their mobile APUs. But given the fact that it's also called Gorgon Point, we can obviously expect it to have very similar specs, performance, things like that, though maybe actually way more performance because we're talking these are being brought to the desktop platform, which obviously gives it more overhead for more wattage, things like that. Anyway, as you can see right here, so we are talking if they do go with the absolute best APU here, it could get up to 12 cores and 24 threads, as well as up to 16 CUs on the integrated graphics. And just to kind of compare it to the current best, the 8700G, it is of course an 8-core, 16-thread CPU with up to 5.1 gigahertz boost clock, and really quickly this supposedly gets up to, well, according to this, if this is right, it gets up to 5.2 plus gigahertz max boost, so not much of a jump there, but obviously we're talking 8 cores and 16 threads, but I'll kind of touch on that in just a second. But then we're looking at just 12 CUs versus 16, which is a very impressive increase of 33%, and that obviously should make for these next-gen APUs to get an absolute massive jump in terms of gaming performance. And in fact, we actually have a sliver of information when it comes to that gaming performance. First, you can see right here with Tom's Hardware, they were actually reviewing a Ryzen AI HX9 370 mini PC, and you can see that it got some pretty decent performance. This is once again, obviously with the iGPU, Cyberpunk 2077, 1080p. Yes, it is low and it does have FSR balanced mode on, but we're looking at a very decent 74 FPS. Hogwarts Legacy, 1080p low, FSR balance, 72 FPS. Ghosts of Tsushima, 62 to 73 FPS. This is FSR 3.1 balanced, but then even over at Anantech, which reviewed a notebook with a Ryzen AI 9 370, and here you can actually see Cyberpunk 2077. This is set to just 28 watts versus the 65 watt 8700G, and you can see that it completely crushes it. So essentially, if Gorgon Point really does, which it certainly seems like that is the case, it wouldn't be too much of a surprise, but if it does end up coming to desktop, which it looks like it is, that'll likely decimate the entry-level discrete GPU market more than AMD already has.